Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Mastodon podcast. I am Albert, and I'm joined once again by Danny. How you doing, Danny?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Living it, man. Living this life we're all living, globally
Nice.
and on every level, spiritually, physically, nutritionally. Fucking,
Good, man.
trying to be good with that stuff. But anyway, we're going to be talking about health a little bit actually in this whole episode about and some of the kind of timeless concepts of especially mental health. We'll go into that. I think we've that's the fastest we've snapped to mental health since the last. I think especially since I think you were on 3. We celebrated. Well, obviously there was the aquarium performance coming up at the time.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, how have you been since then, man?
Yeah, up and down, but mostly good.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
What
I
about
can
you?
see it. I can see it in your face. It's written all over your face.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace, Naima Chowdhury, my mother-in-law, to be passed away.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that.
That's okay. And anyone who has, been affected, I think it's interesting. The past couple of albums, buddy, with Mastodon have been this, I actually I did the pilgrimage, I call it, where I watch all of the Master documentaries,
Oh, awesome.
in sequence. I desperately wish and hope that we'll find out that some sneaky footage was taken during Remission's recording, during Leviathan's recording, because they're such like seminal records. But who knows? Who knows what will turn up in the old Mastodon archives, which again, from the Mastodon Museum, which you and I will end up curating one day. I'm just listening to the Jack White. He's giving that. He's talking about all these Third Man Records that he's opening. So we obviously have to have the London wing of the Mastodon museum, Masterseum, if we want to think of it. And the full circle has to be that each of them has to have like a legit Mastodon skull in the foyer, right?
Ace.
Fucking,
Of course. I recently got the Workhorse Chronicles again. I had it years ago and I lent it out to somebody and I never got it back.
Fuck yeah, man! It's the Masterverse, dude. It has that quality of like, that's why I think you and I riff on Ghost a bit, because Ghost partakes in that idea of myth building and world building a bit with all of their, the Amadeus poster and the new album evoking, Aleister Crowley and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And Mastodon do that with their motifs and stuff. And again, I think Paul was so fucking kind, Romano, when we had that Grammy thing happen.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, well, it's all you guys. You guys make that super rewarding to view closely and interpret and reinterpret, actually, because every time you revisit a certain timeless art, like you bring a new self to it, and it sort of is this living thing. It's not just this one and done disposable, okay, on to the next one. There are these like kind of artifacts, which I love that you have in the back there. You just made Paul smile with the that's fantastic. I love it.
They got the eagle.
Mm-hmm.
That came with the Spotify fan first version of the Hushed and Grim record.
This fucking guy.
The only reason I bought it. I was like, yeah, I'll have that.
Loving it, dude. I'm digging it. But yeah, no. So this is a teensy bit belated, listeners and viewers. We wanted to talk about. I heard that chuckle. We wanted to talk about the sort of kindred aspects between these two records, which both came out in March of their respective years, so 2009 and 2017. Crack the Skye and Emperor of Sand. Originally, I was going to call the episode Emperor of Skye, but it's like, no, I like Tzars and Sultans, man. Like we want to dive into. Here's the thing: is again, as I rewatched. Guess what? I rewatched the documentaries and I picked up on, brand new things that were mentioned, new things that were mentioned, and also, by the way, little shouts out to fucking Big Business, who Dan, I had not noticed this in the making of Blood Mountain. Bran opens the door to the documentarian. He's actually wearing a Big Business shirt in like 2005. Fucking,
Oh, no
this
way.
is during that, like, Bring On the Waterworks or whatever their first
Yeah.
record's called, and it's like, or even before that. So he was fucking hard, and I fucking love Big Business. They are so ahead of their time, and no wonder. Like, I heard that Brent was into them, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they brought him on tour or something, and they're
Well,
so fucking great.
when I saw
Yeah,
him on I think it was Once More Around the Suns tour. They brought Big Business to the UK, and they did this thing where they came out on stage and the singer started telling a story,
Jared.
and then all of a sudden, bang, they just go into a song. The song ends, the story carries on, and then you just you don't know when the song's going to come in, and they just absolutely slayed. They had, I think they had 2 drummers at that show as well.
Oh, Cody and Cody shouts the fuck out, doing great stuff with High on Fire now.
Oh yeah,
Cody Scott Willis and Melvin's to High on Fire.
Yeah,
which
man.
is fantastic. Oh, dude, I envy, man. I truly envy. The thing is, we're in bumfuck here in Australia. It's tough, and it's very, because it's just a couple. It's, musicians already live pretty stressful lives just with the baseline of needing to, unless you're like on that super, like Big Business. I am heavily fucking manifesting for them, like every good thing in the world to Jared and Cody, and I will at one point, we'll see, Cosmos willing, just get them on a show. I have so many questions, and like I have questions for every single fucking song they've done. And lonely, I have to ask Jared, like, why do you make your voice sound like a husky fucking Hesher Paul McCartney on Lonely Lyle? Like, why do you do that? Like, that's amazing.
I haven't listened to them in so long. I'm going to listen to them after we've done this.
You should, dude. You should.
It's been a while.
But what I figured we'd do, man, is, I with these 2 records, first of all, I want to throw it to you. It's just that alchemy, that Jodorowskian alchemy of like, Danny, Crack the Skye. Where were you? Your thoughts on the record, particular idiosyncratic memories, and then we'll do the same for Emperor of Sand.
I hadn't heard anything from the record. I just went out and bought it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I just put it on, and the first song, Oblivion, the whole thing was just kind of like, wow. And then the next bit comes in, wow. And then all of a sudden that chorus comes in, and it just completely floored me. And it was like, I know that Mastodon have always been an emotional band, but that was kind of the first record where they were a bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, man.
If you know what I mean? There's a bit more personality to it rather than with the myths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, that hit me because I was like, yeah, I needed that today.
Oh, dude. And and the thing is, I've mentioned this, in comments and stuff, is that Mastodon are that band, whether they, I always never want to just, I always have an awareness that the band are human beings, and like that they, it's, I never like to run off into that exclusively in that community verse, like they're living, breathing folks. We happen to be on that community side of it, and very fortunate, with Skinner and Richie coming on, and then hopefully someday Medusa Wolf. Every episode I will mention with Medusa Wolf.
Try and get him on.
But yeah, like, I'll say, and you'll see it. It's almost a refrain now. It's like Mastodon are a life band, like a band that you can move through things with. And I think they've beautifully taken that mantle from Blood Mountain to Crack the Skye. They did evolve. Like when bringing Bran in, there was a tangible kind of evolution, and it's that quintessence. Interesting. There's 4 members of the band, but there's 5 instruments in a way, because before it was the 2 guitars, the drums, and they would like dual sing, but it felt like it basically, what Bran's voice coming in, that felt like the added 5th element. Maybe that's just kind of the energy, at least,
Yeah,
and
I think he brought out the singer in Brent and Troy as well.
Oh yeah,
Again, before they used to do a lot more screaming. There was bits and bobs of singing, but I think Bron really I think he must have inspired them. They were like, fucking hell, our drummer can sing better than we can. We need to step up our game.
Yeah. Can't never could. Yeah. I remember from the... and there also, I do recommend folks just diving into some of this. Someone really awesomely put just the full making of Blood Mountain, which before it was kind of locked to a DVD. They still haven't put the full 1 hour and 30 all up when you included the track breakdowns. There is a documentary of Crack the Skye, and also it's criminal that we haven't. I'll figure some way out, but because the art component is so strong, like obviously Skinner is very forthcoming on Once More, where he sort of has that let's speak with. But I truly would, if not through the Mastodon podcast, like would love to see Paul. I know that he's mentioned me asking him some questions in the email and then answering them, and so I can just sort of share that.
Wicked.
So
that's one step closer.
Yeah, one step closer. Yeah. Okay, man. So yeah, and that was sort of what sort of space were you in back in 2009 when it came out, like as a person?
It's difficult to say, really. I mean, I used to drink a lot then. I used to smoke weed a lot, so I was kind of just wasted a lot of the time. But I wasn't in a very good headspace. I think I said this to you before. Every time Mastodon release an album, it's always the right album at the right time for me. There's always an element to it that I can latch onto. Like with Emperor of Sand, it was my granddad passing of having cancer for many, many years. And it's just, and same with Crack the Skye. It was a friend of mine had recently killed himself. So it was like that album about somebody, floating away and all those kind of elements and stuff like that. Just really, like Bron says, the moment I found out that my friend was gone, it could have cracked the sky. Yeah. So it was kind of, it was an emotional time, but that album was kind of my, my crutch.
Yeah, your companion, like just something, like these albums and these bands, like they can like hold your hand a bit. I think even they would be able to speak the same of like, who knows how Iron Maiden or whoever like got like brand through certain things or whatever. Like, and I love that cyclical, and I've like that relationship that people have with art, where it is this thing that gets brought in close to the heart, and there must be some phonetical etymological reason why heart rhymes with art in that way. Like true art really like lives in the heart for sure. We'll dip into a bit of levity now. What's favorite song from Crack the Skye?
It's a tricky one because it almost just flows as one, but I would say immediately my favorite has Oblivion. I just love that chorus to it, and I love that crazy breakdown that they have with the solos and all the really like spacey guitars over the top of that. And
dude,
it's just got a little bit of everything in it for me. But
yeah,
I really like the Tzars as well. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. The Last Baron. Oh, they're all good. It's really
it's a trick question. It's one long song. For me, it always goes Divination jumps to mind straight away, because I remember being cross-legged in front of my shitty laptop. Sorry, it was my sister's laptop, but it was shitty. I was recovering from my army shit. Again, it just came into my life at the exact right time.
Yeah,
got shot at the year before. I was fucking getting my tattoos for the first time, literally drifting away from humanity, just and yeah, like a couple of things happened. It's like it was the earliest instance of me encountering Mastodon it was either the Sea Beast video or Capillary and Crest, and it was literally a couple months before I almost died, and both of those records, which by the way, shouts out to JJ Metalhead, who will be joining us later in the year for a fucking Blood Mountain big old analysis. She does these extremely great, I call them synopsis analyses. It's interesting how well that flows in the synopsis analysis.
I watched a couple of her Marvel ones the other day. I like that she had a slightly different take to Francis the Mute than I did, but it was a way that I'd never really, same kind of story as it's meant to be, but she had Francis down as a different character in it, and I was like, I've never really thought about it like that before. But
again, isn't that great?
She could be right. Like, it's really good. And same with Deloused as well. I didn't realize like there's a couple of things that I was like, oh well, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Actually, maybe the next time I listen to it, I'll have an open mind again, listen to it with fresh ears.
Well, once again, the eventual thing, I'm just not I really don't want to give connotations of like so I have these things, I put them out there, it's whatever, the Topic podcast, you've probably seen them everywhere. It's fun, I'm a 90s baby, I love scrapbooking, that's kind of my thing. Which I am, it is algorithm suicide, it's spreading myself everywhere, I don't give a fuck. It's just the benefits in terms of how fucking fun it is completely outweighs the not getting of all the subscribers, whatever the fuck. So I'm building up these lovely islands. So both Mars Volta and Mastodon, interestingly, are the main two of the music stuff that we do that have passed the 1K on Instagram. So there are communities out there, especially Mars Volta is huge. They're so fucking stoked that we're going to be doing a big, and dude, if you are free, you can jump in on that one. Like,
I'd love
we're gonna how fucking rad would that be? But anyway, so yeah, it was Blood Mountain and both, again, even before the Crack the Skye, like Mastodon had a sensibility of challenge of challenging oneself in like environments where death is very near and close, and the risk, of being Moby Dick on those fucking choppy waves. Like, again, it's interesting the dichotomy of like beautiful ocean, but literally like you're overboard, and then it's very, very soon, unless you know how to swim and all of that, it's very soon you're gone. So it's that metaphor of like just how close we are to death at all times. And same with Blood Mountain, which is it's
fearlessness as well. It's being aware of the consequences of your ambition, but also going full steam ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Respecting the process.
Yeah, and that's, once again, there's all kinds of analogies that can be drawn of like respecting the ocean, like as you navigate it, respecting the industry, but then you also have to keep moving, because otherwise the megalodon is going to fucking get you, which is megalodons of fear, of insecurity, of wrong decisions, of self-sabotage, all that. And what's great about Mastodon is they are this they inspire in their ethic as well, not just in their art. Like they mention their tour cycles. It never feels like a conveyor belt. They just say, roughly every 3 years, and then we go touring, and then we see our friends and family, and then we have our side projects. And they're a great model for, again, to tie them in. I think probably they'll eventually loop back. They did David Bottrell with Tool. They're gonna at some point hook up, especially Brent. He's gonna want to hang out with fucking Jack White at some point with their fucking finger picking, and Matt Pike too, because you got that Matt Pike connection to Third Round Records through the Sleep, right? It's so close to happening. Brent fucking Hines on a Jack White collab fucking thing, and they all have this ethos of like, no. Get away from that narrative of like, can't be a musician. It's like, no, figure it out. It's a business. Finger to the pulse for what's needed. And and in that big interview, he's talking about like, never ever set out to run the whole thing and like do the whole fucking pop-up stores or whatever, or the Mastodondies or whatever, like the Mastodon underwear or whatever. They'd never thought of that it all just happened. Mastodon, that's right. Mastodon. It all happened completely organically as a byproduct, as like a secretion almost of just them fucking enjoying themselves with music. So the key is to enjoy the music and then be smart and know that that's a natural resource that's seeping from you, your ikigai, as they say, which is, if I remember correctly, it's something the world needs, something you can get paid for, something you enjoy doing. And there's like 5 things or whatever. And so that's sort of they've kind of fulfilled that. And
what I like about them is the fact that metal is usually a genre that I love metal music, but it does take itself a bit too seriously sometimes, and a lot of bands are guilty of that, and that's fine. I'm all about that. But what I like about Mastodon is they play this like really like deep and meaningful music. It's very highly emotional, especially nowadays, and it's really aggressive. But then the guys that are in the band, you see them in
Don't take
interviews, and
themselves seriously.
they're just like comedians. They're all
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious, and it's like you'd look at them and you'd think,
yeah,
like, they do you know
that's
what I mean?
right. That's
They're
fucking
very
right, dude.
human. They don't
Mhm.
act like rock stars or anything like that either. Like going to the Grammys in that balloon suit that Bron had before. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
just like, it's hilarious.
I once said that they both, I always, Mastodon and Tool for me, it's there right there. For me, Mastodon edges out Tool because of the Joseph Campbell and the resonance. It's just a pure, like, on an atom level, I just snap to Mastodon, and then there's Tool there, which is, with Alex Gray, but they're very much,
Yeah.
they have that parody with Mastodon, just like literally, like, so much is formative for me with Mastodon, like, to my core. But with their I don't know, man, like, we could go chronological, or I could look at each fucking band member or whatever, but with Tool and Mastodon, as in for both of them, with Tool and Mastodon, I always thought of Tool never allow cameras in the studio, and that's what works for them, and they make really fucking rad music, and they're confident in that way. They're just confident in a different way about, like, we don't feel like we need to bring you in, like, that's fine, like, it's cool, like, whatever works. Whereas Mastodon are the opposite, like, they'll do the documentary, they'll do the clips and stuff, and similarly, like, neither people take themselves seriously, but all of them, including Meshuggah, which fucking immutable, shout the fuck out.
What a great record.
I know. So all three of these bands, and Gojira as well, like, they, fucking, do you remember Evil Mario? That was a thing.
I don't remember that.
Oh, really? So
if
you look up, like, I think he was a Twitter account as well, Mario Duplantier from Gojira, he would do, like, a weird evil face, and he would pretend to be evil around. He would just go around and, like, pull pranks, and then Maynard's, like, fucking, Danny Carey, he's reaching for his drum.
Oh, yeah,
and he gives him a dildo.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so and it's, Tool are also, like, they're easing up a bit, and it's just like there's a great camaraderie and a shared sense of respecting the craft, but again, as is important for all of us, like, to never take yourselves too seriously, because I think you just cut yourself off from a lot of joy that way, and a lot of of life's experiences, because you're there's people you'll hang out with, and they're like, no, I'm setting the energetic tone of this conversation, and you have to, like, you have to orbit around me, and everyone.
Like,
fuck off,
What I like about the Mastodon guys as well is the level of respect they have for each other, and look at Brent Hines, he's one of the best guitarists in the world in metal, hands down. But there's lead lines that build us as well, and even on the new album, like, Brent let Kim File from Sound solo, the guy from, is it King Kurt or King Crimson, do a solo, and it's like, and the vocals as well, it's like sometimes Bron might write a set of lyrics, but Troy sings it better, so he hands it off to him. It's not like, no, I wrote that part, I want to sing it. I like the fact that they trust each other, and I think that's why their bond is so strong as a band.
Yeah, man.
Because of that, mutual love and respect that they have for themselves, the process, and the end result.
It's a thing where I even say this to Ray, is, for me, art is like neighbors with, sometimes there's, like, the extreme fan culture where it's like that actually ends up being a barrier. That's why I love meet and greets, where you're just riffing and just being people, and you're just talking, and it's a thing with Mastodon that, like, because of who they are as people, is they end up just being unconsciously kind of generous in that way, where, like, everything they even, there was a moment, and it was meta meaningful for me, because it was a podcast. So as Brent talking about Hush and Grim, he didn't want to be there. Like he was just a bad day. Like he just didn't want to. And then people, ran off with that story about like, oh, he held back or whatever. And he's like, man, have you ever not had a fucking good day? Like, and like it's cool, man. Like, and if I was that interviewer guy, I'd be like, man, let's hey, buddy, like I see you, man. I recognize. Like there was whenever there's that sense of trying to force the thing, it's like, oh man. So I actually, as a human being, I was like, fucking right on, Brent. Like, just chill, like, and like, be true to your energy. And all of the master dudes are being way truer to their energy. Life will do that. Like, you'll increasingly become protective of your truth, of what's real for you in the moment. And on that level, that's just a human behavior. On that level, they're inspiring and also just cool, kind of sobering with how a lot of people in music kind of run off with their egos and stuff, and they just aggressively naturally keep it real, for sure.
I remember that time, I think it was roundabout Once More Around the Sun, and there was an interview with Brent, and he said something like he hated metal music or something like that, and it was taken well out of context, and it just blew up over the internet, and it was like, is this the end for Mastodon? and it's just like, man, I think he was more pointing out the fact that the commercial aspect of it, or the samey nature of certain bands, and he's a bit of a character. He might just be saying it just to annoy people.
Exactly. And just like, have you forgotten? Like, these guys are fucking, like, they're metal, like they're like artists, and they're also frontier dwelling. They're not like fucking conveyor belt artists. Like they mix it up. They're on a creative frontier, which means they're on a, they'll never just switch into just like interview mode. Like, you're catching them as they are, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is so important. And like Des Kenzel, from High on Fire, they were doing that What's in My Bag vinyl thing.
Yeah,
and Amoeba. It's like, Amoeba. And I didn't tell you this, but in LA, me and Ray, we were just doing our, in 2016, we decided to visit the US for the first time. And I just wandered into this giant vinyl store. I was like, this is a big store. I had no fucking idea I had wandered into Amoeba, and like all the reputation, Melvins had performed there and shit. And I just, I completely oblivious, and like Mastodon had like done a, What's in My Bag or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, Des Kenzel, he, sorry, it's not just Des Kenzel. That's the drummer, and shouts out to what he's doing now, and shouts out to fucking Cody. I can't wait to hear what he does with High on Fire. But no, Jeff Matz actually. Jeff Matz, he metal dude, High on Fire, but he was like, yeah, I fucking love Altin Gun, this Turkish. They have a Anatolian, I think it's called. They're from the Netherlands, and they play Turkish music, and it's fucking funky Turkish funk. It's just so I just love it, and I think the
interesting. I really like the idea of that What's in My Bag, because you're so shocked at what some of your favorite. I watched the Cypress Hill one the other day, and they had like Metallica Ride the Lightning, and they were like talking about that, and then Cedric has one on there, Cedric from the Mars Volta, and most of his stuff is like, I think there's a couple of like old punk records and stuff like that from the local scenes, but a lot of it is, as you'd imagine, this weird I can't remember what you would call it now, but it's like found sound kind of things.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm really digging about. Like, they're just this, I like the word omnidirectional, and like they really embrace eclecticism, which is, reason why we have so many amazing organisms in nature. It's because fucking cosmos, creator, God, whatever, was like, okay, let's fuck around. Let's get this and mix it with that. And that's why, like, nature never gets tired. Nature's the ultimate inspiration to artists, because she's just constantly fucking putting shit together. And to, like, we can really try, you and me, Danny, we can try, but we will never ever find out every single act that nature has ever, like, like animals, I'll still see new fucking animals and shit, and like they channel that, like Mastodon channel that idea of like, when a new record, and that's what they did with Crack The Skye and Emperor Sand. For both of these, see the segue, see looping back. Yeah.
Nice.
So and I don't know, we speaking of drifting away, we're doing all this like tangents, but I love tangent taking. It's great. So for yourself, for me, we covered that with like where we were, and then songs as well. Yeah, so divinations and then quintessence immediately, and then immediately Ghost of Corellia, and then I, as you do, I just say, yeah, I love the whole record. So it's just that answer. It just flows. There's no you don't just say, yep, I'm just all about whatever Tzar or Escape, like one section of Last Brand or whatever the fuck.
It's like it's the perfect vinyl album because you know there's nothing skippable on it.
No,
and it's just nice to be able to just put it on, and just leave it on.
There's an unofficial trilogy. Sorry to interrupt. You first.
It's all right.
An unofficial. Yeah, carry on. There's an unofficial sense of like a bit of a trilogy going on with Lateralis, as I Crack the Skye, Lateralis, and Dark Side of the Moon, where there's a feeling, there's a palette component, there's a one long story component, there's a mood sense to each of those three records, and you regularly see people mention like Crack the Skye for me is like on that, you know, Dark Side of the Moon, Lateralis level for me, and so these three records have this weird kind of interesting kinship across, you know, bands and stuff, which is yeah, man.
Three of my favorite records as well.
No, well, there you go.
Lateralis is just absolutely just fantastic.
It was
the fact that it's all about, you know, loss of communication and trying to reestablish that line, and
helpful stuff, man.
I love it. Yeah, it's
you know, great. Shouts out to the artists who in who they are. Like the music is just this almost this journal of like who they've decided to ongoingly be as a person. And I want to shout out actually to Bill, because I saw Mastodon on the Crack the Skye tour. Like they'd come to Australia and met him outside, and you know, I mentioned that before, and he corrected me.
Did they have the film?
Oh yeah, playing in the background. Yeah.
I saw them on that tour as well.
I was so fucking exhausted from the Mars Volta though, that I straight up either passed out, but I definitely collapsed at Crack the Skye.
Did Volta support them?
No, they were playing very close in the same town. Yeah, off of Octahedron. You know, that was a fucking time. It's no coincidence that they're two of my favorite records of all time. And I fucking love Octahedron.
Octahedron is so underrated as well.
It's so underrated. It's Cotopaxi is 7/4. What is it? 7/4.
Crazy.
Oh, it's amazing.
Love it.
So, but no, and Crack. You know, it's actually Crack is great. This is Crack. Oh man. You know, who knows the next record? I'm hoping for a Huntress style like Catharsis after, you know, Hush and Grim is another classic for me. It's beautiful unto itself. I keep saying their best record is their latest because they just keep topping off. But I would like, you know, a fucking concept album based on like Pee-wee's, you know, adventure, just like something completely insane, which is like full of Deathbound kind of shit, you know? Yeah, fucking love Deathbound. And
I love I saw people script of Grim, and some people said it just feels like a slog, or it feels like it has this weird flow to it. But every time I listen to it all the way through, and I wish it was longer.
Right? Look what we've done here, man.
Yeah.
Oh shit. And then it was like, and then Troy, na 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 na, double down. Like it's just tidal destruction. Like, come on, fuck off.
It's fucking awesome.
They have brain damage, bro. Like that album is the furthest thing possible from a slog, man. It's life. Like it's the cycles of the seasons. It's Paul's 9 panels of it's every possible mood. It's again, and also their most generous record.
I love how it's got this unusual flow to it, because I think without that, having a long album would feel like a slog. But the fact that it's so changeable from song to song, I think that's what keeps it interesting, and that's what. It's the immediacy of the situation you've just come out of into something else. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
I
man.
think they've done an absolutely blinding job on
It's
the,
fucking
because that's the one thing that my band is struggling with now, is like we've got the songs, but when we're playing live, we only pepper in a couple of the new songs. But it's like, how do these songs talk to each other? What order are we going to put them in?
Yeah.
And there's only like 9 of them, so there's not even that much to consider. When you've got an album that's an hour and a half, fuck,
Yeah.
man, how do you decide what's going where?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
But I think they nailed it.
They fucking nailed it. And so, yeah, obviously, fucking infinity out of 10 for me on Hush and Grim. Impromptu Hush and Grim. I love Hush and Grim gate crashing because it's like, and it's their fucking best. I love Hush and Grim. I fucking love
fantastic.
it. Yeah, man. So, but yeah, like, yeah, you know, it's so funny. It's almost like you can't talk about either Crack the Skye or Emperor, you know, without you know, they're these cathartic concept records, you know. And I'll tease it out of Paul at some point. I also quite love just having a bit of fun with, like, you know, track listings. As you know, I love what you're mentioning about, because it's like with that band thing, it's like figuring out, you know, how things flow. I love the art of track listing, the art of track naming. I also love all of Mastodon stuff. I've said it before. They feel like they could be like book chapters, you know?
Oh, definitely.
Like, yeah,
Blade Catcher.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? I want to know more about that. Like, you know,
oh,
who is this Blade Catcher? And
they're biding their time. What they want, what's going to happen is, we'll develop Mastodon podcast to a point where it's like, okay, episode 25 or episode 30, we'll probably, you know, we've got another also listeners, viewers, we're going to record a little bit later as well, talk about holy shit, dude, Remission. Fuck, yeah, 20 years. Yeah, man, that's going to be a big one. Very emotional one as well, you know. But yeah, like, yeah, so there's no really kind of diving into those records without talking about, yeah, that catharsis component. And I was listening to Genesis's The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, right? Not long ago, and you know, he's, and it's interesting, you know, we talk about big business before, and in this live performance of the entire album, this concept album about a young man in like New York and whatever, but then he goes into this surreal universe, and it was one of the kind of cool inspirations. Like, I'm now not only in like Colony of Slippermen, Colony of Birchmen, but there's like some tonal things. There's actually ways that you know, is it Peter Gabriel or whatever, like he's singing that. It's like, oh yeah, Brent is doing a bit of that on Blood Mountain, you know. But their imagery, like, you know, like I find that what Mastodon did on both Crack the Skye and Emperor of Sand to be a beautiful marriage of imagery to fantastical creatures / fantasy elements. I love that ratio. Blood Mountain will always have a special place because it was like right there when I first learned it. But you know, there are moments like Pendulous Skin. You know, JJ talked about Pendulous Skin is I had never realized that it was about him shedding, you know, like, again, catharsis, like shedding his wolf form and then ascending, you know.
But you did, it's open-ended as well, isn't it?
It's like, there's so much open-ended.
Did he complete the mission? Did he? That's right. Did it go well, or was it bad, or, you know?
Yeah, and
it's awesome.
And then you realize that it's both and neither, you know, which is just existence, you know.
It's like in the vinyl version of I don't know, it might be the same with the CD, but on the vinyl version of Emperor of Sand, when you open the gatefold, it's got all those like creatures who are like
the crystal,
worshipping the crystal. Is like, is that the cure for the time that the Emperor gives you, or do you know what I mean? Like, and who are these people? Are they there to guard the crystal, or are they fighting over it? Or what's the Emperor,
what I mean,
got to do with all of this? And I like the fact that it's like a mythology, isn't it? And it's in itself, they've created this mythology.
It is, man.
Based around this horrible fucking disease.
It's the pure it's weaving pain and death and sadness into life. And it's, you know, death nurtures, literally, like we need, that decay, the mulch from which the new things spring from. So it's cyclical. And like a circle, which is like the shape of a vinyl, the shape of a record, endlessly revisible, life, death, rebirth, circles are complete forms, but they also neither have a beginning or an end.
All circles created with intention.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Buddy. So let's actually, because the love is real for Crack the Skye, but I fucking cannot wait to talk about Emperor Sand, because when it's okay. So I threw it to you, and now what I'll do is I'll go first for this one, and then so we have a nice symmetry. So I just moved out of it wasn't that long, at least, since I had moved out from uni, and once again there was this notion of like something ending, and for me that was the uni stuff that I was doing, and it was a toilsome largely because I got mega existential in the middle of my uni, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and so then it was it was a genuine feeling of wandering and like feeling lost, and then tired and lost, no one to trust, who is there to give the push, and I did graduate. I made it. Right,
congratulations.
Thanks, man. And that record was there, and so it came in again at that time. But how about yourself, man? Emperor Sand.
Well, yeah, like I say, I mean, my granddad was suffering for a long time, and then it was not long after Emperor Sand came out, and I'd never really given much thought to the diagnosis of like when you're told that you've got it, and that's the whole thing with the Sultan gives orders to take your head, and it's like you're given this, you've been given your death sentence, your mortality is coming to an end. What do you do with this time that you've got left? Well, I'd never thought about it like that before, and listening to the album and hearing how, even though they're talking about a dark and miserable subject, it's still triumphant at the same time. It's kind of,
man.
It's a journey, and they're trying to like pull you through it.
Yeah, dude.
But then there's also a point in the album where they say is it Uncrowned Destiny? Where it's like, give your life so I can breathe. It's almost like someone who's the family member of the sufferer. They're like, I just wish this was over now, so that I can rest. And
isn't that interesting? We got to a point, and I speak with the utmost highest level of honor and respect for this woman, who I, in so many ways was more of a mom and like a parent. I think of my own like blood parents as like just these uni students from the 80s who they were, it's fine, like we're friends now and stuff, and but not like Naima was like a straight up like mom, like she was a mom in her core, in her atoms, and like she would have that thing where it's like it was in her marrow to just be loving, and because what happens with as I'm sure you're familiar with, and for people out there listening and viewers and listeners, is it's a slow thing. It's not, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And what happens is there is this time, it's just you're waiting, and time becomes this foremost thing, and then there are moments where you're like, I just want it to be over, kind of thing, and it's that dichotomy of like, you want as much time as possible with them, but then you also don't want them to suffer,
Absolutely. It's like my nan, because my granddad had been ill for like 9 years or something like that, and it was up and down and up and down, and what my nan had to go through to support him in her old age as well, it must have just been exhausting to the point where right near the end she must have just been like, I can't go through this anymore. As heartbreaking as it is for her to lose her partner,
that's what I mean.
She doesn't have to watch him suffer anymore, Yeah,
dude.
So it's kind of like that sigh of relief.
It is, and
it's interesting how the band managed to make that a positive thing.
Yeah, that they
hurry
do,
up and die, will you, so that I can be happy.
Yeah, and the thing is, John, like Nick John, again with the highest levels of respect and deference and knowledge that we on no level will ever know. He was also notoriously camera shy. My God, it's like, geez, like throughout these documentaries, like, where is Nick? You know?
Yeah.
I think he's a good, well, he's just this presence, and that's what he was. And it doesn't surprise me that, you know, when they did the art direction, like it was Paul, intuitively, there was a dimming, you know, and like funerals and like the light, and that's why the art direction with the black and white, like it was something that, because of how it felt like he had given them this vibrancy and you know, life is associated with like brightness and color, and then it's like it's almost, even
all
though
their album covers have been as well.
Yes, that's right. And like for me, when I heard Pushing the Tides, like it was like I was fucking standing up in my fucking chair and I was losing it, because I was like, this is brand new fucking territory for me for Mastodon. Like I remember when High Road came out, and then that fucking just blew my fucking mind. But Pushing the Tides, like da, 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 like it's on episode 4 where I just like I call those like the teeth of the song. Those like, because you can see them in the sound waves, like da 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 da.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Is so like, you know, like the teeth of like some kind of aggressive animal. And they're all, the thing is like, in that process, which you can tell implicitly that that's what they went through. And there's also always sometimes something, and again with utmost respect, with boundaries and stuff, there's also a sense of sometimes things happening in tandem, and there's clearly some lyrics in Hush and Groom which have to do with communication between you know, like certain members of the band and other people in their lives, and like what they're going through, and there's this sense. I love how we just keep talking about Hush and Groom, because we haven't had a chance to talk about it. It's
we haven't
great.
yet.
Yeah, I fucking love all the songs on Hush and Groom. By the way, I fucking love.
There's not a duff moment on it. It's
Beast
fantastic.
The Beast is a beast. You know.
Yeah, it's just crazy that, like, you know, as sad as it is for the guys to have lost someone who did so much for them.
Yeah,
essentially their partner, the silent fifth member. If he hadn't have passed, we wouldn't have Hush and Grim.
Interesting.
It's like what would they have written about instead, or you know what I mean?
I'm sure it would have been, and it's, you know, when he's talking in the Korean performance of like Skeleton of Splendor, which he said is like one of his top ones from Hush and Grim, he's like, the one person I'd want to play this for is Nick, and it's just and then Ray and I have talked about, it's like there are certain things that definitionally as and it's always touchy, you always want to be so respectful, but there's a notion that both the person, once they've eventually passed, they're not suffering anymore, and that's a good thing. And then there's also the notion that you are also not suffering to a degree where you're witnessing someone that you love dying. You're not suffering anymore, so there is a sense of relief on the other side, and there's a feeling of like, why couldn't you have both? Like, why couldn't I feel the relief and you be alive, you know? Yeah. And sometimes you do have that beautiful blessing with like Troy's wife, which was so great to hear that she made it through. Definitely. They're so rad, and they're all just our extended, you know, they're like there's that great line from Avengers of, you know, Wanda being like, you took everything from me, and then he's like, I don't even know who you are. I'm sure it wouldn't go like that, but what I would say to each of them is that, as they would probably say of like Ozzy Osbourne and like fucking, you know, Metallica, it's like they probably listened to those records when they were feeling, you know, in the doldrums or whatever, and they felt a kinship. Yeah, they had posters and stuff, and they were like, yeah, man, you know, you were like this energy and this presence of like, you know, Kirk Hammett or whatever, or, you know, whoever, Lars Ulrich or whatever. It's like I felt like I would listen to your records and feel like I had like a friend or whatever. Like there's that whole kinship and relationship there. And that's kind of nice to be able to kind of carry that forward. But anyway,
it's no secret that, you know, Bron is a big Judas Priest and Iron Maiden fan. You know, are they the albums that he leaned on in his time of need, or are they just an inspiring factor because they're energetic and metal, and he's a bit of a hyperactive dude? Yeah, man. You know, it'd be interesting to...
Yeah, the alchemy.
Yeah, like like we lean on Mastodon's records, but it'd be very interesting to know what they lean on.
What is the outcome?
Not just what inspires them into their music. I just mean like if they're having a shit time of it.
Yeah, man. I also we're gonna
heals them.
Exactly. We're gonna have a mini impromptu break. I'm just gonna put this on real quick because there's a tradition that I've noticed. This is like a tradition I've noticed in Mastodon Records. Whenever they're fucking recording, dude. This is from Sekiro, by the way. Great game. It's like corrupted monk mask. Whenever they're recording,
I do recognize that.
They always have masks around in the studio. Yeah. Grand's always wearing a mask. They're always. It's just.
He's wearing that one, and when he's doing the drum tracking on Blood Mountain on the making of. That's it. Yeah. That's the intro to the podcast that I was on last.
It is, and it will be for this one. And
it's yeah.
I might do another pass on the intro for this one. Maybe just cut in a couple of things from the Hush and Grim amazing quadrilogy of short films, like with Bill and his running cult, and just good shit, man. I really loved. Brent's gonna have a moment. I think with. I'm looking forward to the High on Fire. Sorry, with Matt Pike. It's gonna be really stoked on some of the stuff because I think they're actually gonna either start a band or like that's like watch that space basically. Yeah, for sure.
It's mad with High on Fire because they are unwittingly responsible for Mastodon.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, dude. It's completely true.
What if one of them decided not to go to that show that day?
Yeah, bro.
Would Mastodon would that spark have even started? You just, as you said earlier, everything happens for a reason. Nick John passes and we get Hushed and Grim.
Yeah. Oh man. So wait a second. Remission was 2002. That's right. 2002. Okay, ready? The Time Machine came out in 2002, which is this fucking movie like no one remembers. It had Guy Pearce, Samantha Mumba. It was directed by H.G. Wells' grandson, and it had this component of I talked about this with Paul in messages. The sensibilities of like a museum, like you would just have because it was like set in the 1800s or whatever, and then I asked Paul, I was like, so with Mastodon, like you went deliberately iconoclastic, like you went with extremely academic almost or museum like font, which is Adobe Jensen, for the for the logo, which is now iconic unto itself, and set the tone for many bands after, which was like, we don't have to have unreadable fucking logos anymore. We can actually just have an amazing, beautiful, simple font.
It's like look at your shirt, for example, and mine.
Yeah, dude.
That old font is just it's iconic now with Mastodon.
It is.
I remember when they changed it up for the Hunter and they had something different for Once More Around the Sun. Fine. And when the cover for Emperor of Sand was released and it has this font back, I was like, shit. I loved the Hunter and Once More, but I thought the magic is definitely been rekindled with that right in there.
For sure. I like to think that, because again, they are on that frontier. They're not, and the thing is, Thomas Hark said this, so I'm allowed to say this. He said, with Meshuggah, we are literally immutable. Like that's our anchor. Like, Broken Cog for me, I think Jens goes into new vocal realms, whatever. There's so much for me new done, but they have a certain immutability, which I love, is that they have that self-awareness about it. But Mastodon,
I really feel like Broken Cog has like a Tool kind of sound to it. Well, seriously, it's so good.
Gosh,
sorry, I interrupted you.
I love it, and you have to jump on the Meshuggah thing as well. It's just, if I didn't have the full-time job, I would just be fucking recording podcasts all day. So jump on the Patreon, fuckers. Like, if you want that shit, if you want this fucking crazy network of topic-specific shows, and Danny co-hosting on all of them, including Zelda, which now I know you're into fucking Zelda. Holy shit!
But that's another. I was going to mention earlier with Emperor of Sand. I'm assuming you played Breath of the Wild.
I certainly have, and there are desert levels there, and there's symbols and everything.
Yeah, and the desert scenes and stuff, like when you get too hot and you have to take certain things, and it's like I was listening. Emperor of Sand came out around the same time.
The exact same.
Game.
I'm telling you, dude. Yeah, dude.
So it's like when I was playing it and I was in the desert and I was listening to Emperor of Sand, it was just like,
what's
no
going
fucking
on?
way! Like this is so like linked.
Yeah. Hey, Link. Hey, Link. Hey, my man.
And you find in the old the goddess statues that are in the mountains and stuff like that. That it's just.
Oh
again,
yeah, dude.
Zelda's
I will direct
mythology.
it. Their own mythology, exactly. They will direct it. They will announce it. I will essentially probably end up, because I think I might have that mad scientist aspect where it's like, I mentioned it in this recent post on the Instagram about like, it is only a matter of time before a company like, maybe not Nintendo initially at first, but Giant Squid, who did the Pathless and Abzu and Journey, like they'll just be like, concept albums are adaptable. Like you can adapt them into things.
Definitely.
Into like there is in some adjacent and rapidly approaching us timeline, which we will meld with. There is something where you could do a fucking Crack the Skye series. Like you could.
Yeah,
it would be an interesting, impressionistic, animation-filled, subtle, even anthological, but you do have a bit of a sort of throughway there with Rasputin, and then with Emperor of Sand, very much so with like that sequencing of like a Sultan, like Lost in the Desert, like get Vince Gilligan to direct that shit, man. Like he's so good at that desert stuff, right? He would be all over that. It's like, wait a minute, the concept like a mini, and I'm talking about the Obi-Wan thing's coming out. That's set in the desert, man. It's going to be this 5-6 episode thing. Who wouldn't want to see like Medusa Wolf on set, like giving advice to some of these, prop builders and like, yeah, this is what I had in mind. And it doesn't have to be too long. It can be 10-minute episodes, but there is a way. And I
Definitely.
will, JJ, I mentioned her in the post and she's like, I would happily be part of like a Mastodon writing room. The thing is, a lot of this stuff has to come from the mad crazy people who say like this could work, and I am that guy. Like I started down, it's in progress, but the Mastodon like bestiary compendium, where I scrub through, because the song is again super generous. I go through and like any creature that's mentioned or any allusion to a location, I'll then like create like a bestiary entry for that.
I love the fact that they like created the Sasquatch.
The Sasquatch, yeah.
The Sasquatch, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to see that. You first?
Just the blending of the two mythological creatures to have as JJ put in her thing, that they're supposed to be like the helpers, aren't they? But they've got an ulterior motive.
The ulterior motive, yeah. Shouts out, and I hadn't read that into that. I had elephant spirits calling me home. I always thought, and there's a line actually in Practice in Emperor of Sand as well, with like something about daughters, all of that alludes to
like Sultans' daughters.
Drowning in Sultans' daughters or something. There's these allusions to these dynamics and characters and plots, and I've I can't remember if it was James Cameron or something, but they talk about it's an interesting challenge to like, there was no planned sequel at all, but like no, it was Pirates of the Caribbean. They were talking about like, we suddenly had a notion of developing, extending and deepening, and it's like, give me that. I'd do it for free. I would do that whole fucking thing for free. I'd be like, guys, I will direct, I will break story, we'll do writing room shit and like they did like a little novelty video game for Blood Mountain, but I especially with you playing Breath of the Wild with Emperor of Sand, like dun, 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 like that's very Gerudo Valley as well,
yeah, man, definitely.
Scorpion Breath, and so obviously for me, Scorpion Breath. What's your favorite? Actually, Steam Breather. Oh fuck!
It's tricky. Steam Breather is absolutely great.
Yeah.
What's the other one? I've got the record here.
That's cool, man. Let's dive on in.
I can't remember what the song titles.
I got
Word to the Wise.
Word to the Wise
is probably my favorite.
Yeah, man. I love these kind of one-liners, like words of the wise, tread lightly. Like it's just strong nomenclature, man. You know.
It's like, why am I treading lightly? What
I know.
What am I stepping into?
You're stepping on the precious stones, is what you're stepping on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's rad, dude. And you know, another thing for me is there was an interesting thing with Emperor of Sand, because it was roughly 10 years since I had first discovered, you know, 2007, 2008, and it was like coming out 2017, touring in 2018. And you know, my discovery of the band was simultaneous with my discovery of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I remember we didn't have Amoeba Records, but here in Sydney we had something like Heresy Records or something. It's another one word that they've closed down. They were in Broadway, and they just big music store. And in that one day, I picked up Obzen from Sugar.
Oh, nice.
Back when we were buying shit, I picked up Aqua Teen Hunger Force : movie theater film for theaters or whatever the fuck.
That film is amazing. So everybody that I've introduced to Aqua Teen Hunger Force, they're just like,
it's a groovy time for a movie time, so grab your gal.
I remember hearing that song when it kicked in, and I was like, this sounds like a band trying to take the piss out of Mastodon.
Yeah.
And then found out that it was Mastodon. I was like,
don't talk, watch. Oh, dude. So
I will bite your torso.
And give you a disease. Yeah, man. And so, yeah, you know, I hope they appear in Aquadonk side pieces, which I was fucking overjoyed when they announced that. It's going to examine the villains, which is great because
is something else coming.
Yeah, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. They're doing Aquadonk side pieces. It's more Aqua Teens.
Oh, no way,
brother. Yeah, bro.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm coming overseas. Gonna bring you your fucking microphone cable. Finally. And
I found it in the end.
You found it. I know. Yeah. So for the listeners in the pre-show, he was looking for his microphone cable, and I was like, I found one. I'll just throw it. How great would that bit have been? You know. No, man, that's cool. Okay, so again, another smattering of like can't really quite pick, and again, it speaks to the self-given, you know, the self-set standards of like, no, it has to pass through. Like, you know how when they're doing the records, and I've seen it a few times, even during Once More Round, and definitely with Harsh and Grim, is they have the whiteboard with the songs, you know, and they just and they you know, I'm sure other bands do that, whatever, but
we've got one in our room as well, big.
Exactly, like
it's got all the different parts of the song, which parts we've nailed and what still needs work. It's we call it the chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board, I love it.
Yeah.
And what you can tell is that they're really like crafting this thing, like making it the best fucking version of itself. And also, folks, like, yeah, Hashtag it's a double album. Like it's like we got 2 Mastodon albums, and I don't put album 10 for them. I don't put that past any day, any time before 2024. I think I'm going to put. Yeah, they might, and that might sneak into 25. You know,
I think they're probably already working on something.
Oh yeah,
because they usually do it in between tours. Like Bill said that he goes into his studio and starts writing with COVID and all that.
Studio.
They recorded the album during like the first wave kind of thing, and obviously finished working on it going forward with it. But with the breaks in the touring cycle, it's like maybe they're up to something.
Hey, dude, let's go a little bit of wild speculation. So it's interesting. Scott Kelly wasn't on Hush and Grim. That's
Hush and Grim. Yeah,
he was on Fallen Torches, which we love. You know.
Oh yes.
But a couple of people that just feels like, let's go, is obviously with Bran and Jerry Cantrell sharing their birthday. Like, I would love to hear Jerry on the 10th Mastodon record. Like,
oh, definitely.
Who like helped Mastodon were part of that wonderful induction ceremony with the Seattle Museum, which, if you haven't seen it, folks, so Mastodon performed. It wasn't Wood. I think someone else did Wood.
It
wasn't Man in the Box either. Oh fuck, it's so
I thought
good.
It was Wood.
Nah, it was someone else. Mastodon, Alice in Chains. People are yelling right now in Chains. If I was fucking savvy, I would have chats going. I'm just this hopeless Luddite. It's like Zoom. No one fucking uses Zoom. Businesses and shit use Zoom, but all the kids are using Discord, and it just Danny, we are of a certain generation. It's like, I just think, do you remember it's like you would call ahead, or you would agree to like meet someone. There was less instant, like I love accessibility, but that level of accessibility, like you can just talk and is like, what? No, like we need to set things up. There has to be some ceremony, you know, that instant accessibility, man. It's like, I'm social, but not that social, you know? Induction. No, it was a good one. So folks, if you haven't already Googled it, it's Again. They did Again.
Ah, yes.
That's right. Hey, you know, again. I love it. So good.
It's so good. I would have loved to have gone to the tour as well when it was Mastodon, Alice in Chains, and Deftones, and it was called the Black Diamond Skye Tour.
Fuck.
Because they all had Crack the Skye, Diamond Eyes, and
Black
Gives Way to Blue.
Black Gives Way to Blue. That's right.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
And what a fucking tour to have seen.
Let's see. Hushed and Immutable.
Don't tease me like that.
Interesting.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I know, right? And then Fortitude, but that's, you know, that was a year or so ago. Love Gojira. Love it. Shouts out to Russell, who was kind. He directed the Chant music video for Gojira, and he was on the show. And so you can go check that one out. And definitely want to. Sorry, you first.
I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but I like with like the tour that's coming up. It's got like Opeth and Mastodon.
Yeah,
like a joint headliner kind of thing.
I
love that. If you like Mastodon, you probably like Opeth.
Oh yeah.
If you like Mastodon, you probably like Gojira.
It's a spread, man.
Yeah, if you like Opeth, there's a good chance you'll like Meshuggah.
And then High on Fire and Baroness.
Yeah,
and
they're all like these sister bands, and
I love it. It's good, dude. And
it's like if you know someone that likes Mastodon, there's a very good chance that they're gonna like Gojira. You know, you kind of, you're like, wow, did we just become best friends?
Yeah, dude. It's the Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly thing all the fucking time, because it truly is generally like you don't just like that one band. It's usually you have that concatenation, and Primus too. You know, because they like Les Claypool on a Mastodon record. Like, come on! Like the thing is, because we know there's that. Like we saw it a bit in Crack the Skye, and a bit in Aunt Lisa. You know, from one track, like that insane Zappa-esque kind of thing. Like I want them to break those, like Battering Ram hit number 1, boom. That was Crack the Skye with whatever that breakdown Zappa-like, and then Battering Ram number 2.
Kooky.
Yes. Number 2 was Aunt Lisa with those, but number 3, like burst open the doors on album 10. Like, just go fucking. I want Captain Brenthart, baby. You know, like with that Beefheart insanity. Just, I think they're gonna.
Bron saying something after they did. I think it was after Once More Around the Sun was released during that cycle. And Bron was saying that he would like to do an album that was just insane, like very intense and weird, just crazy. Like I don't know if you've ever heard. There's a British band called the Cardiacs. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Cardiacs.
I think I read about them today. Interesting.
Yeah, their singer he died last year. I think it was. Now he had a stroke, but their music is it's insane. There used to be a punk band called Cardiac Arrest, and then they changed to the Cardiacs. And the only way I can describe it to you is like punk circus music.
Oh fuck yeah!
It's very erratic and
Brand's all over that.
I'll send you some links to it. Like if you listen to that and you'd think, fucking hell, what if Mastodon were to tap into that?
Yeah,
it would lend itself so well, you know. It's in the last Baron, that guitar solo, that's kind of like Cardiacs in nature.
Great.
So Mastodon are very capable of of doing something really wild like that.
That's the essence of prog for me. It's an experimental,
Yeah,
that's what it is, man. And again, people saying like, oh, it's they dip their toes but never. It's like, for me, like, the art is just what it is unto itself as the full package, like that uncompromised artistic, and it would actually lack integrity to do something on principle, right?
Yeah,
it's and yeah, man, no, I'm digging it. Yeah, and also when you go into okay, we're in that album 10 speculation space, and I love it, but like, we'll let them do their thing. I would love for them to, obviously come to Australia, but it's like, especially coming out of a pandemic, it's like, I think I'll catch him in another few years, I reckon, and again,
Australia being quite
I don't know. They're being okay, but what I can imagine is that because basically, if you're, I'm assuming there's almost like a doubling of costs, really, to go that far, just from certain locations. So even like Europe is easier for US bands, and US bands, it's
Europe is, but the UK is getting harder.
Yeah. Oh.
That our borders is just getting harder. I went to see Cult of Luna in Denmark a couple of years ago when I was over there.
Oh yeah.
I asked, like, they were doing this massive European tour, and I said, how come you're only playing one date in the UK? And they said, well, because of Brexit, it's incredibly difficult.
Oh, fuck.
They had their lighting rig stuck in Norway.
Oh, fuck.
Due to a complication with Brexit in the UK. So going from Norway to Denmark, Brexit had an effect on this, which meant they had to hire a lighting rig elsewhere. Bro. It's like, basically, because of the taxes on everything, it's not worth the money, because Cult of Luna, if they were to do 2 or 3, 4 shows in the UK, they wouldn't be able to afford to have like a tour bus or something because of the insurance and everything on the shows. It's just...
That fucking sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks.
It's getting really difficult to, like, even Opeth usually play a good few shows in the UK, but the last time they did like 3 shows, and there was nothing local to me. So me and Amy had to go to Bristol, which is like down south.
Buddy, Danny, we just need to agree that we all need to move to the US. Okay? Let's just, what the fuck are we doing?
LA. Right? Let's go and hang out at Amoeba.
Ray would fucking love it. We'd have to, maybe reconcile some of the two. Okay, 3 things for me. It's the guns, it's the sugary food, and it's the toilets. They have weird fucking toilets in the US, guys. It's like they're like
really?
They're like little swim. Have you been to the US?
No.
They're swimming pools, dude. It will actually disconcert you. It's like, it will feel weirdly like Lynchian, or a nightmare. Like, wait a minute, you expect me to sit on that? Like, the water's right there. Like, I shift 1 inch, I'm dipping, right?
Yeah, you're holding your balls above.
Yeah, I didn't come to have my balls dipped in like fucking toilet water, dude. And then we're savages because we have that tiny little water reservoir. Right? This is classy topics here. Anyway,
I really didn't know about the toilet.
You didn't?
Situation.
See, now I'm so glad I was there with the toilet, because no one fucking told me. It was traumatic. It was fucking traumatic. And you know why they didn't tell me? Because it's a fucking dirty secret. Like, they won't. Now you're at least prepared. When you go to the US, just bring your fucking bathers. Anyway,
have you ever been to Marrakesh?
No, Morocco.
We went there.
Ancestry. We probably head there at some point. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, they have toilets where it's just a hole in the ground, bro. And either side of the hole, it's like skate stoppers.
Oh,
on top of stairs. So they've got like that either side, so you don't slip, and you've just got to like hover.
Okay, well, that ain't that a bit of fun.
Certain places they've modernized it because it's kind of like a touristy place. But we went to the Atlas Mountains.
Such courtesy.
And we were up there, and we went to this place to go to the toilet, and it was like, there's no toilet paper.
Great fun.
And it's just a hole in the ground. With no doors either.
And phenomenal. The scatological adventures of Albert and Danny. I'm all about it, bro.
I don't know why we started talking about that, but
that sounds like a Frank Zappa song. Like he would, or a Les Claypool song. I wanted to say, so Okay, and I didn't mean to, because this all started from me talking about like Immutable and like the touring. What I would like, interestingly, is I don't know if they've ever toured together, but I would love to see, Porcupine Tree are coming out of their, I don't know if porcupines roll up in a ball. Is that what they do? No,
I don't know.
So they're unfurling Porcupine Tree, and have you heard Harrigan?
Hold
on,
I've heard one of their new tracks. I can't remember.
Well, yeah, it would then be Harrigan, because I think that's the one that's released, which is
I think they've got two out now.
They do, yeah. So Opeth, Porcupine Tree, and Tool and Mastodon, like that would be, yeah. I mean, this is sort of dream territory kind of shit, and all I hope is that we're not post enormous tour, like that's why I get heartened when I hear about, that's why the interview with, and there's a reason why I keep looping back to this, folks, with the Jack White interview. It's because he's like, for the longest time he's like, I'm I do my thing. I edit with like razor wire. I do things really old school. But for this new one, Fear of the Dawn, like I think that title probably is this allusion to like he was afraid of the dawn of this new age of technology or something. But he's done his hair all blue, and he recorded a lot of like some of these tracks with like fully, like for the first time, like fully using tech. And the interviewer asked him why. It's like, this is crazy. Like you're like the analog guy. And he's like, I'm still the analog guy, but the fight is over to many, because we won like now. And he released that video of being like, we are pressing, as in vinyl, pressing our asses off. We have so much demand. Vinyl is no longer a boutique item. It is back. Come on, like Sony and WB, and he sort of entreated the largest places. Is like, open up vinyl plants again, and that gave me hope, because what I would love to see is, at some point I want to meet you IRL, man. Like, how fucking cool would it be to like meet on like an amazing fucking tour of them, like touring with, on album 10, like touring with these other the big band tour. You know what I mean? Like the fucking Unholy Alliance, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, man.
Slayer, come out of it. What the fuck are you doing? Kerry King didn't want to quit. Get the fuck out of retirement, Slayer.
Yeah. I think it's Tom Araya doesn't like Kerry King anymore, maybe.
I know.
Bad relationship.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, like just getting to, I remember years ago, it was probably around about the time of the Hunter and Heritage.
Yeah.
And it was another joint headline tour. It was Opeth, Mastodon, and Ghost.
Oh yeah. See,
this is when Ghosts were nobodies as well. Like, they had Opeth out, and that was it. And it was like, what a fucking tour! Now all of those bands are much bigger now than they were back then. I mean, I can't see Ghost ever doing a joint headline tour with 3 bands, but
they do. They're quite, with their setups and everything. Although, again, who knows what kind of cool alchemy might happen. They do like creating an atmosphere. On a teaser trailer for an upcoming Ghost podcast episode, I'm gonna have this motherfucker on it. We have to talk about how so A24. I've long prophesied that, because he is interested in, Tobias, like he's interested in mixed media, and so I'm convinced that there's going to be an A24 film made of like in secret about the clergy, which is like the fictional, people that release the ghost music.
Yeah,
and that ties in actually with my hopes.
They've got the short episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and it'll be part of that. And it'll be, and I call it a mixture of Midsommar and Amadeus. Like, I've got all kinds of
I still haven't watched Midsommar, but somebody told me to check it out.
Man, it's a trip. Have you seen Hereditary? Ari Aster's first film. Fucking hey, dude.
I loved it. So many people hated on that film as well.
No, man,
it was great.
Again. Sorry for saying they have brain damage, but they do. I'm so sorry. Like,
the girl in the film definitely did after hitting her head off that post. Shit.
Fuck. Nice. Hey, nice decapitation pun, bro. That's cool. And we do also do when it comes to things like, A24, like, because there is an A24 podcast, I just stick on community and the A24 community podcast. And then also because we do have, interestingly, we have podcasts about podcasts. And so then I'll just be like community podcast and stuff. And I'm prepared. Like if Mastodon's like, hey, we want to start our own, could we have the URL? I'll be like, fucking use it, man. We'll just be known as the community podcast. And that's what we do with Last of Us as well.
And that'd be awesome to establish that connection with them.
Yeah.
Of course you can have the URL and
there you go.
Come on the show and
that's right.
on yours.
Exactly. And then your daughter can marry my brother, whatever. the joining of the families. Dude, we're coming up to an hour and a half. This has been fucking rad. Could easily go well into the night, dude. What
time is it for you over there?
It is, because I'm an old man and work tomorrow at 9:30. So yeah, Q here. I can hear everyone being like, "Oh wow, fucking all right, go to bed, granddad." But yeah,
it's 12:30 here in the afternoon. 12? Yeah, man,
that's cool. I like how in the UK, because we love black books, and so you guys say 12:30, like 10:30. Have I joined a cult? I fucking love black books, dude.
It's such a good show, isn't it?
It is. But man, 2 incredible records, both tied, in some senses sadly, but in many senses, like when we think about how there's sadness and trialsome times that happen, like when we do chuck a Mastodon or take that route, which I would love again at some point to speak with the dudes and just be like, so this notion of like channeling, darkness into light, like this thing of this cyclicality, and like you want, like agreeing as a group of friends and human beings and artists to let that process happen, which is that's in many ways what has fueled some of the most beautiful art. And the art actually goes on to enshrine and honor, these figures. Bill's mom and
it's their bravery to tackle and be emotional as a metal band as well, because it is it's that positive masculinity, like that strength and vulnerability masculinity, which is fucking, we need more of it, and all 4 of them are like fucking beasts, like lethal art creating cosmos in human form, but they're also human beings. And they're also a bunch of fucking, bunch of goobers. They're all these things, and it's a good kind of meta message about like just be all the things. Don't just be one of the things, Yeah. And, I just like the fact that they buck the trend for what metal bands are usually expected to be. The stupid t-shirts that they wear, and
bro.
Do you know what I mean? Like I said earlier, they're wearing that suit with all the balloons all over to the Grammys. Right. It's like the most serious award show ever, and they just go there like dressed as a baseball player and a fucking a balloon. Man.
Who won the Grammy again instead of them? It was best metal performance.
This year or last?
Yeah, this year.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know that they didn't win this time. Did they win that time though with the balloon suit?
They won. Yeah, they won for Sultans Curse in 2017. That was the last time. Anyway, buddy, make sure to have a really good rest of the day. I think it's going to be manifesting good things for you with all the different spheres of life, creatively, personal life stuff. Man, I'm just sending you good energy from over here.
Work today, and tomorrow I've got a gig with the band.
Nice. Tell me, for if you're local, what's the area like? Come on, tell people.
It's if you live in England, in Shropshire, there's a place called Albert Shed in Shrewsbury.
Oh, nice name.
We're playing. It's like it's almost an open mic night, but we're the headlining band. What they do now is they have like some of the DJs that work there. They get them to pick a band to showcase. So it's like, okay, loads of people come and loads of people are free to play music, and then we headline the night. So it's kind of a way to introduce us to them and them to us.
That's
establish a connection to build a music scene again, because the Shropshire music scene just died on its arse about 15 years ago or something, and it, despite numerous attempts to revive it, it's not quite got there yet. But Albert's Shed is kind of a lot of people see it as a bit of a hipster bar, but for the good that it's doing for the music community,
that's good, man.
I'm well up for it. So yeah,
fuck yeah, man. All right, Easy peasy.
If you're listening to this and you're in the Shrewsbury area,
do it.
Say hi.
Fucking A. Do it, man. We'll do we'll wrap up and we'll do a post show as well. But folks, take it easy and then like have a good rest of your weekday, month, until we record and put the next one out. It shouldn't be too long. Because May, man, 20 years of remission. That's gonna be what a trip. What a record. So but yeah, onwards forth and yeah, man. I'll wave to the little Macedonians. See you guys. Take it easy. Bye.
Take care.
Bye. All right. Now that we're in the post show, hit me with it, man. So, all I want to do as your friend, like, is all chill? Like, that's like, again, I want to be respectful and stuff, but like, I know it's heavy and all that, but like, I just, like you said, if it's better this way, then like, I'm happy for you. So I just give you a big hug.
It's one of those things. It's probably been on the cards for a while. It's just
man,
one of those things when you've been together for so long. It's
dude.
You don't want to be the one that goes, let's not do this anymore in case the other actually wants to. So it's like,
which is a bittersweet thing, right? It's because you care for each other, but you can unconsciously be dragging it out because you feel like you're dragging it out, but they're happy in the situation. You don't want to be like, well, this doesn't work. So I know,
because they might be thinking it does work or hoping to get it back on track. But
but they say three things will always be revealed: the sun, the moon, and the truth. So if it's gonna happen, if it's the truth, then from that point of view, I think I'm just happy that the truth, living that life is a lot of people don't take, they graft and then they compromise and then they there's an erosion of who each person is but all I can say is, dude, like I've said this before, it's have I said, okay, I'll say it now, dude, like from the openness that you have an openness to life, like I think in terms of the coast across the network, like you're there, man, like you're with it and you're tuned into your art, and I think moments like this will bring you closer to your art for sure, and you're walking an amazingly worthwhile path, and you're like a fucking straight up, like one of the real ones, as they say, and
I appreciate that, man.
you've only, I know this, like you've got really rad things in your future for all the things. So, and you've always got a friend in Australia. So there, if you end up here.
Same, likewise.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Unless we all go to LA.
Yeah, we are. That's the plan. That is the plan. All right, I'm gonna sign off as the old man that I am, and get to editing.
No worries, brother. Man. Fantastic. Big hugs. Speak to you again, man.
So good. Fucking take it easy. We'll chat some remission in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, man. Sweet.
See you, brother.
Take care, Albert, man.
Bye, man.
All right.